All right, good day, ladies and gents, and welcome to Fortis Pips. Today I'll be talking about trend line, best way to draw your trend line, how to identify your trend. Now, before I go further into drawing your trend lines, which is going to be really simple and quick, I want to teach you about, talk about price action. All right, most of you might know what price action is, most of you don't, but price action is very simple. Okay, it's just the activity of price in the market. Like you all know, price doesn't just make up move, down move, sideways moves, all the moves all at once. All right, there's always pattern and shapes it tends to form over time to show you the best way to trade the market and how the market is going up or coming down. Now, price action. How do you know price action? There are three activity price tends to take in the market. All right, three major things. Now, these things are very simple. It's usually called the uptrend, downtrend, and the raging trend, or you can call it the sideways trend. Now, how to identify price action? It's very simple. All you need to do when you open your chart, all you need to do is look at the price current situation, and then you look at the pattern and shape it is forming at. Okay. Now, mind you, if you want to draw your trend, if you want to identify the trend of the market, you cannot identify the trend of the market using a lower time frame. Probably maybe a 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's not advisable to use those lower time frame to identify the trend of the market. Now, when you want to identify the trend of the market, you have to scale up to the higher time frame, like the weekly, the daily, monthly, and all of that. Okay, that is the best position that you can identify the trend of the market. Now, there's this saying that the trend is your friend. Now, when you can't identify the trend of the market, you tend to trade against the trend, and trust me, it's not a good idea to trade against the trend because the trend always wins. All right. Now, let's go back to price action. Price action, very easy to spot. Now, there are three things that price will always do, all right, which is what? The higher highs, which comes with the higher lows, and the lower highs, which also comes with the lower lows, and the equal highs and equal lows. All right, let me go over this again. Now, we have the higher highs that goes together with the higher lows. Now, you can't have a higher high and you have a lower low. All right, probably maybe there's a news in the trade, or something is terribly happening. Okay, now how do you identify this? It's very simple. You can just spot this using your eye without no tool necessary. You just see the point of struggle where price is struggling to break through from, and then you can see another spot forming just right above it. And then let's use this as an example. Let's use the arrow markup. Now you can spot a high here. All right, then you can spot another high here, and then you can spot another high here. Very easy. All right, same thing goes downwards. You can spot a low here. All right, you can spot a higher low. All right, you can spot another high of the lows. Now, this spotting here is very easy. It shows you that price is actually in an uptrend. Okay, price is actually showing you price in an uptrend. And this is 2017, and I'm making this video 2023. So I'm trying to take you back to the past so that you can see that price always do this over time. There's no like, oh, this price is actually doing this last year and it's not repeating itself again this year. It's different. No, it's always the same. All right, it's always the same, and you follow the trend. Now, this is you identifying without the use of any indicator or anything. You're just simply looking at the chart and you're identifying that the price is actually making a higher high and a lower highs, all right, and the lower highs. And then you can also spot this, at this point of a downtrend, all right. Price is making a low here. Price is making a, you can say a high. Price is just making a high here. And then price decides to make a low here. All right, price is making a low here. Price was making a high here. Because this was, I think, was slightly higher than this. Let's use this as an example. This was a low. This was another low. And this was another low, which can be seen as what? Lower highs. This is for the downtrend. You can see price making a low here, all right, another low here, and then another low here. Now, if you can identify clearly, you can see the same thing happen to the support zone, or you can say this floor zone, and then you can see a low here, another low here, all right, and then the big low here. So basically what price is trying to do at this point is making a lower highs and then a lower lows, all right. Now if it's doing this, you know that it's in a downtrend, and if it's doing this, you know that it's in an uptrend. Now if you get this, you're 50% there already. All right. Now we're going to dive into what we call the trend line. Now the trend line, identifying this alone, has helped you smoothing the path of you drawing your trend line, because you can see where you plot your line, your trend line to. You understand? You're not just drawing your trend line and plotting straight up direct direct line like this. You're not drawing something like this. You're actually seeing where to plot your lows and your high trend line. Okay. Now, when you're drawing an uptrend line, when you see this is actually an uptrend line, because you're seeing higher highs and then higher lows. You plot it from the support, all right? From what? The support zone here. Very simple. That's how you draw your trend line. Why, if you're drawing your trend line, a downward trend line or a bearish trend line, you can draw it from your resistance zone, okay? From your resistance zone, and that's how you draw your trend line. Now, drawing your trend line can be tricky at times. There are rules drawing your trend line. You shouldn't allow the price fit. You shouldn't allow your trend line to fit into the market. Okay. And now we've seen a lot of people struggle. Me, I've struggled drawing with the process of drawing my trend line, trying to see how best. Oh, this is out. This is not really out. This is in, something like that, and all of that. Now, I've found that the basic, very simple tool to draw your trend line for beginners, all right, and it has helped me, and that's how I identify my trend. Okay. Now, if you're drawing your trend line, although there are going to be a lot of fake outs when you're drawing, you're using your higher highs, the higher lows, and then you're confused. You don't know if you're going to put it here or probably here or probably here. You don't know. Now, the best way to identify, to filter all that, is to use your ray. That's the best tool to draw your trend line. Now that being said, you've known your price action pattern, how to draw your, how to spot your higher highs and higher lows, and lower highs and lower lows. Very simple. Now let's bring it down to, okay. All right, I'm going to use an example. As you can see here, I'm using the replay on TradingView. This is May 2020. Now, the best way to draw your trend line is to actually back test, the tool and for drawing your trend line. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to use our array. We're going to bring it down, and we're going to plot out our zone. Now, mind you, always, like I said, I've always taught my students to pay attention to fundamentals, because if you can see here, this was March 2020. You all know what happened March 2020, and due to the pandemic and all of that, so price was really, really volatile and shouldn't pick a spot from here. All right, because price was really, really volatile, and price was actually trending up, and then all of a sudden, because of the economic meltdown and all of that. So picking the right spot here will just give us this. All right, point A, call it point A, and point B. All right, let me just plot it here, and then you can see how it fits in, and then it draws you a long, infinito trend line. All right, you don't have to plot it with this, your trend line, and then you might close, and then something might happen. You might see an adjustment here, and you're confused. You don't know how to draw the trend line. Now, the best way to draw your trend line is week to week. All right, body to body, week to week. The most outermost part of that candlestick, just plot it. The first two candlestick support zone, if it's an uptrend, because definitely it's an uptrend. I'm seeing a high, I'm seeing higher high, I'm seeing low, I'm seeing higher low. So I'm plotting these two together to